this video, I'm going to reveal the secret that this particular price chart is pointing to, and it's pointing to something that you must be aware of. Don't miss out, this is an incredibly important video. Let's run the numbers. Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and the CTKS Method. If you're new, a very warm welcome. And welcome back, CTKS family. My goal is to help you to be more of a financial blessing and emotional blessing to yourself and those you love. We can see inside the main markets, they're at extreme fear levels of 14 reading. People are currently scared out of their collective minds. And it's actually little wonder because the markets have been so incredibly volatile, and in the past trading session we saw a red blanket cover the financial markets, the main markets. Across the main markets, all sectors were down 2.24%, and you can see the hardest hit sector was information technology, down nearly 4%. Jerome Powell came out yesterday and said no rate cut for you. Also, there's been trouble with China, and not just trouble there, but also with the chip maker Nvidia and others on export controls. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said, yeah, we're not going to support the market, and the market went, oh God. You'll find that across financial news, there's always good news, there's always bad news, and there's news in between. But the real issue is you've got to get independent from the news completely, because smart money moves before the news hits the newsstand. The particular chart that I'm going to show you is the VIX. The VIX is part of row 1, and the VIX has been very controlling of not only the main markets and the stock market, but also the crypto market and commodities. These little boxes comprise the cheat sheet. And you can pick up a free cheat sheet from going to ctksmethod.org. A lot of people ask, what is the CTKS method? The first thing it's about, stop buying and selling at the wrong times. If you know where the resistance is, if you know where the support levels are, how strong they are, how weak they are, if there's gaps in between them, you can make a huge amount of money by entering and exiting. And thank you to everybody who commented in yesterday's video. I just left a little thing in just like literally the last couple of seconds of the video after I said goodbye. And the response was absolutely overwhelming. Our community is incredible. And Kate and I are so grateful to be here each and every day to share our experience with you. So when you scroll down on the homepage to the Mastering Price Action, this is where you can pick up the cheat sheet. And if you go down a little bit, there are some videos on how to use the cheat sheet, how to get also the official ticker list. It's very useful. And then if you would like to go down a little bit further, you can see different trades that I've done and shared on the public channel. These are all spot trades. There is no leverage involved in these at all. And also I have gone long at spot. Now what does that mean? It means that price has retraced, I bought, and as price was coming up, I sold. You can see that you can do really well just trading at spot. You don't have to get too excited and over leverage, especially if you're not quite sure what you're doing. Okay, let's get into that chart. The truth is, reading the news will just give you a panic attack. Maybe there's a better way to do it. Maybe we just look from the institutional perspective. And what we need to do is currently look at this particular chart. And if you're enjoying the content so far, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. We have one of the best communities on YouTube. And we would love to see you here. When we look at the VIX, this is the fear gauge of the main markets. You can see the VIX recently overcame a downtrend. Now you may say, well, this sounds good. It looks like the VIX is making an upward move. However, when the VIX goes up, guess what the markets do? They come down, and they come down really hard. Ken, are you sure? Can you prove that to me? Absolutely. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. You can see as the VIX was coming down, Bitcoin was coming up, but then as the VIX started to base and started to increase, Bitcoin fell from about 87,000 all the way down to around that 75,300 mark. That is quite a reduction. And what happened recently? The VIX retraced. This led to a broad-based rally inside crypto. But what about the stock market? Glad you asked. Okay, let's try the Nasdaq Composite Index. What did it do when the VIX was decreasing? It rallied, but when the VIX started to base and started to come up, we can see that the Ixic, or the Nasdaq Composite Index, fell from around that 18,200 mark down to around that 15,300. That is a very big drop. And this is a composite index, so all the stocks that compose this composite were bleeding and bleeding hard. Now, what do you notice here? This is not so good. This is why we must have a look at charts and intercorrelations and interconnections. Now, what does this mean? It means quite simply, if the VIX gets above 36, it could go again. Now, what does that mean? It means if you're an investor, you're in luck because you always want to buy when price is going down. But unfortunately, most investors only want to buy when price is going up. When price is coming down, they say, oh no, I can get it cheaper, until it goes up and then they buy there, then it comes down, and then they sell. This is emotional trading 101. But Ken, if you look at Nvidia, for example, that was all about export controls and reduced earnings, so that couldn't possibly show up inside the VIX. Or could it? How do institutional grade investors and traders look at things? Well, they look for intercorrelation and interconnection to assess momentum and direction, and then they look to structure. So when we look at the VIX coming down, this was Nvidia. Notice just before the base was in, Nvidia started to get weak. Why? Because institutions always know what's going on. They started selling. And when did the public catch up? Probably around here, where Nvidia came down to literally around that 94 mark, and then people would start to sell because the VIX, the fear gauge, was getting so high there that this is just how the market works. If you're buying and selling based on emotion, you will create losses. Nobody tells you this except us. That's why you must be here. If you want to get entertained, there is a lot of influencers that will do that for you. But if you want the truth unvarnished and presented as exactly as it is, please make sure that you keep on tuning in. I'll tell you exactly what the market is doing. So what does this represent? Nvidia is very risk sensitive at the current time. A lot of people would have said, oh no, it's DeepSeek, it's all the Chinese AI getting released into the market. Well, of course, that's a part of it. But why do we see the same intercorrelation and same interrelationships no matter what we look at? The VIX is controlling financial markets at the current time. Now, what if the VIX manages to come down? That is fantastic. We will see a broad-based rally. But Ken, you have to tell me exactly what's happening. And I know price is always moving in a wave, even down to a 15-minute basis. But you must tell me precisely, exactly. Nobody can do that. But what we can do is the very next best thing, look at structure. Unfortunately, many traders and investors actually draw support and resistance incorrectly, which leads to bad decisions. Also, many traders and investors just look at candlestick patterns without a thorough analysis or understanding of what is actually occurring. We know where liquidity is hiding inside the charts, and currently the VIX is coming into structural overhead resistance just above this particular area. It has light support below, and it has also support at that trend line. So the case where the VIX just plummets isn't necessarily on the table. We could see range-bound action for a time. as the market tries to figure out, is it actually going to rally up or is the VIX going to come down? Now, if the VIX does come down, we need to observe price in its natural environment. It's like we're going on a safari and looking into what price is actually doing. Yesterday, when we were looking through the S&P 500, I just pointed out that there was structural support right in where price came down to. So we came down through the first structural support on the S&P 500, dropped into the next area. Now, if we lose this area, we're going to drop fairly hard. So please bear this in mind if we don't see a turnaround here, and that will be shown inside the index futures. We could be facing a bit of a drop. Now that means that the VIX will not actually consolidate like this. It is likely to shoot up. Always have three-dimensional thinking in your mind. Just know the price of course can come down and your fear will say, oh, I've got to guard the downside, and you do. But the issue is it can also flatline and also retrace. We're not typically good at three-way decision making. Typically we just decide in terms of one direction. But although one direction is a good group, it's not how you should be trading and investing. Yesterday, we looked structurally at the Dow and said that the Dow had overhead structural resistance. On the VIX starting to break to the upside, we saw this negative CTKS gap get tapped and then retrace. But it looks like if the Dow comes down further, we have all of this structure here. The CTKS method is literally the world's most powerful structural buy and structural sell level detection system. It identifies them. It identifies where buyers will come in, where the gaps are inside the market that simply cannot be seen any other way. And we can see that the Nasdaq also came down, nearly tapped that structural support. But because there's so much structure in here, it reflected and the buyers stepped in. One thing that you should note is that we are doing a CU, and if you've done the profiting course, you know exactly what that means. So we have negative or downside momentum at the current time. We are likely to get a follow through on this particular price. So the potential weighting inside the market is to the downside and not the upside, not just yet. The key thing is that you need to be ready. If you're ready, you're prepared. And if you're not ready, you're not prepared. You need to be ready for three-dimensional price action. Price is always moving in a wave. And when we look at the Russell 2000, this is really constructive. The Russell can give us a very good indicator on what crypto can be doing. We know that there was fairly good structure underneath. We know that the S&P 500 dropped. We know that the Nasdaq dropped, the Dow dropped. But looking at the Russell, this is a very good indicator as to why Bitcoin has not dropped too much. You can see that the Russell and Bitcoin are fairly closely and tightly related. A lot of people, a lot of influencers will simply look at Bitcoin's chart and say, I will tell you where Bitcoin is going. And they use that voice. Just kidding. The truth is, you can't know where any particular chart is until you stack probabilities. Now, if we see the Russell break out from this overhead structural resistance, and it is trying, we've got a positive CTKS gap up to here. That means that the VIX will actually retrace. Now, always remember that the Russell is very risk sensitive, like Bitcoin is risk sensitive. So this actually throws a conflicting signal, and you've got to get used to those. This whole process is called stacking probabilities, and you must learn how to do it. To further stack probabilities, we want to look into the futures of the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Dow, and also the Russell. What we can see, the futures are pretty weak right now. The S&P 500 is dropping, the Nasdaq is dropping, the Dow and the Russell continues to be weak. Now, what does this mean? It means that so far we're expecting the VIX to spike up, and we don't know exactly to what degree yet. And when the VIX does spike up, as it will eventually do so, they'll just bring all sorts of narratives into the market, and all of these narratives are just pure BS. It's not about any of those things. What it's about is price just moving in a wave. The institutions always profit first, and I'm helping you to be an institution of one. Emotion has no place in our dictionary when it comes to trading or investing. When you buy and when you sell, pay no heed to fear. Fear will cause losses. Fear will keep you out of the markets. Greed will keep you in the markets when you should be out, and vice versa. So please just eliminate fear. But how do you do so? You use intercorrelation, interconnection, and CTKS structure, combined with a healthy dose of emotional management. In many ways, Bitcoin is holding up incredibly well. So just bear this in mind. At the current time, we know that's negative sentiment inside the market as far as the major market indices go. Also, we know there's a bit of a weakness inside Bitcoin's trend at the current time. We're currently consolidating on this cut, but if we start to lose it, beware. All you need to do is to prepare yourself. Don't have rose-colored glasses on and just don't think everything is fantastic. Just embrace reality. Let's check out what mischief Bitcoin is getting up to and has been getting up to in the past 24 hours. We saw in the past 24 hours we had a retracement and then a spike and then a drop and then a retracement and then a drop. But we know this is all structurally based, so all we need to realistically do is to understand where smart money is buying and selling. The major issue that we still continue to face inside the market is the 85,728 level. The nice thing is that Bitcoin is currently 83,955 and it's coming into an area of structural support at 83,855. We also have a lower level of structural support at 81,892. What happened in yesterday's price action, we fell through and was gravitationally attracted to the 83,855 area. We did a structural pass at the 84,591, and that was a structural level that's actually acted as resistance. But we knew this back here. We didn't have to wait for price to print. This is exactly why the CTKS method is the Rolls-Royce of all technical analysis. Or if there's something even better than a Rolls-Royce, as some people have suggested, please let me know what's better than a Rolls-Royce. I'm looking forward to your comments, and we can see that we came up to that structural overhead resistance at 85,386. If you go back to yesterday's video, all of these structural levels were inside the chart at that time. You can see how well structure is obeyed. It is incredible. Even when you get sell-offs, you can have structural overshoots, and then this gravitational magnetism tends to kick in. And then what happened then? We couldn't get past the 84,591 level. We know from a structural stance that the VIX is starting to regain control over the market. If it makes a bit of a push up, that's going to be bad for Bitcoin and bad for the stock market. But it's not bad for us because we know and are familiar with BORSOG. What the heck is BORSOG? It's buy on red, that's the BOR, and the SOG, which is the SOG, is sell on green. And there's a lot of reasons that you should do this, especially in markets like this. Unfortunately, most traders and investors have no idea where liquidity is hiding inside the charts. And because they don't know, they guess. And when you guess inside financial markets, unfortunately, you will lose money. We must stack probabilities. We must understand intercorrelation and interconnection. Now, what does that mean? When it comes to the crypto market, we can't just look at Bitcoin. We have to also look at total crypto market cap. We saw in yesterday's price action, we had a sell down, but that was eventually caught by multiple layers of structural support. And this 2.61 trillion, where we are literally right now, was an important one. And you can already see this curving of price here. That means that the buyers are stepping in. If you don't get a curve of price like this, what it actually means is that the sellers are too strong. When the sellers are too strong, it's simply because there's no CTKS structure in existence. And you can see this level of structure and also this one held price incredibly well. We also have a level of structure down here at around the 2.57 trillion. Now, what does it mean? This is a very important level of structure inside the market, and it will play out across the different charts inside the crypto market. And we know Bitcoin moves with the stock market. So what's actually happening? We're literally reading the VIX in real time. If you know what I'm talking about, just please give me your understanding of that comment in the comments. I'm really looking forward to it. This is how you learn and grow. This is how we all learn and grow as a community, as a global family. And it's not by surprise that we're starting to see a bit of a kick up here. This is structure. We do it each and every day. We can see it playing inside the charts. And you should be looking at your chart structure each and every day because it's important. What actually happens, a lot of investors just buy something and then they wander away and let that investment just percolate. And like a percolating coffee, it gets too hot and it all burns out. What this actually means is that you need to look at your investments if you're investing, because if the market changes, you need to be aware of that and you need to manage your risk. Risk is always managed around structure. So for example, we knew this 2.69 trillion was a key level of structure inside the market. Even though we tried to get above, it failed. And when it failed, boy oh boy did it fail. We had a structural overshoot, another structural overshoot, 2 SOs, plus another third SO. It meant we were going down to deeper and stronger clusters of structural support. That's how you read the chart. Gold in the past trading session did incredibly well, but gold is always controlled by structure as well. And there's literally over 70,000 days worth of structure inside the gold chart. Now let's have a look at how this is playing out. We can see that we came up in the last trading session. We overcame this 3240 mark and got caught at structural resistance at 3266. We did a very nice structural pass here and then got caught at the 3297 level. We've managed to get above the 3326 and we're obviously making our way up to the 3379 structural resistance level. When they're heavier, they're harder. That means that there are more sellers here. When the line, which is called a Stanfield level or CTKS level, when that is above the current price, and gold is currently 33.49, when it's above its structural resistance, when it's below its structural support. And you can see we have light structural support at 33.26 and 33.16 and heavier structural support at 32.97. Remember, gold is geopolitical by nature. Gold was just rampaging before C19 became a thing. That's going back a few years, but this is just a way to keep your eye on understanding what the charts mean. Gold going up means problems globally. And just like in life, problems come, problems go, and when they go, you must be ready. Please let me know, are you ready? And what is your strategy to deal with forward price volatility? You must have your strategy ahead of time. Don't let price be an animal and rip you to pieces and then decide, oh, I think I need to do something. And always remember, there are always opportunities inside the market. If your fear can't get a hold on you, you're going to do incredibly well. Keeping positive is absolutely critical for you to do. Always understand that opportunities in life reset daily. When the markets go up and down, it's very common for people to feel and base their emotions on that. For example, when the emotions are positive and high, price is going up. And when the emotions get low, price is coming down. Do not allow your emotions to be controlled by the market. The market doesn't know you. It never will. Also, understand that being dedicated and committed is the key to everything in life. If you either win or learn and never blame, it doesn't matter what you focus on in your world, it will become better and better and better. And that's ultimately what you want. And always remember, you are strengthened through your life pullbacks. They give you the strength for the next life rally. It's a funny thing about success. You have to be strong enough to withstand success. And always just remember, a lot of people want to get to success without putting in the hard work. They would prefer to steal it from somebody else to get it. But you'll always hand it back under these conditions with penalties attached. Just start small and scale. And it's very important to have your attitude focused on going slow to go fast. The markets are a lifelong profession. You can think about the GFC and all of those particular crises. Well, C19, the big institutions, sure, they laid off people, but they didn't close up shop. They didn't go away. They're still there. And so will you be. Learn to shine in the red. Our community is absolutely incredible. We were literally born in the red of a crypto crash. So the red holds nothing for us. Of course, it's a bit of a pain when it's red for a long time, but there is always price moving in a wave, and we have the structure, we have the X-ray vision. So if you know the universe is designed to make you succeed, every day you can show kindness, integrity, and gratitude. Opportunities in life reset daily. You are worthy of every success in this world. Just go about it the right way and you'll keep it. Making it and keeping it are two incredibly different things. You need to keep it. So therefore, go slow to go fast. If you just start small and scale with buying on red and selling on green, you'll do incredibly well. Life pullbacks are the thing that you need to strengthen. If you don't have a pullback, you can't get the strength and your next life rally will fizzle. So those pullbacks that you're getting, those scars that you feel, that anxiety, all the problems that you've been through, they're molding you into a better and better life. Just stay dedicated and committed, understanding that you either win or learn, and never blame, because blaming is a shortcut to disempowerment. Nothing good comes from blame. And always solve your problems with positive excellence. And the fact that you've made it this far just means you're an absolutely amazing human being. To let me know, just drop something on positive excellence. I think positive excellence is just such a beautiful area. It's how to live your best life. Just let me know, what do you like about it? Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now.